Hey everybody. We're going to spend the rest of our kind of time together just exploring a theme that we, Florrie and I, felt like that God was leading us towards when we were doing some preparation this week. And that theme is the theme of love. Nice. Yeah, good. Everyone's excited. Everyone knows exactly what this is going to be, don't they? The broadest theme ever. Now, we basically there was a story that kind of stood out to Florrie that we're going to spend some time in a minute kind of working through and thinking through together. But I really just wanted to set the scene just for a couple of minutes. And so we're going to open our Bibles together. If you've got a book, feel free to grab it. And we're going to turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. If you haven't got a book but you have a digital Bible, you can turn it on and open that up to 1 Corinthians 13. I'm going to be reading from the NIV, and it's going to be on the screen as well. But whilst people are just finding it, going through the pages, clicking on the right buttons, if you have a Bible with you, it's so great to be able to follow it along because it's, we have it on the screen and that's really helpful. But if you've got it in your actual paper and you can see, and when you're looking back through your Bible and you're seeing the things that we've read together in church and those kinds of things, it's a really great thing to have your own copy with you and have it sort of make sense to you in what you're reading in the week. Okay, 1 Corinthians 13, have we got it? Excellent. And it's going to come up on the screen as well, so we can follow on through together. It says this: "If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but I don't have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor, and I give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but I don't have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, it's kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but it rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now, we see only a reflection like it's in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three things remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love." Awesome. You might recognize some of those words that are commonly used in our marriage services. And with my brother Ben getting married here last week, we had some of this reading read as part of the service. Love is patient, love is kind. That section is such a classic section for our marriage services and such a key foundation for marriage. But, of course, we know it's not just a passage for marriage, is it? It's a passage for our households. It's a passage for our families. It's a passage for our workplaces. It's a passage for the people that we might, in the Bible it says enemies. We don't really go around telling people that we have enemies anymore, do we? But we do have people that maybe we don't get on with so well, or people we find difficult to connect with, or people and places that we might find frustrating and challenging to us. This passage isn't just for marriage, it's for all of those places. And we recognize, don't we, that Jesus' love, the love that he leads us to show, extends so far beyond our marriages and our households and our families. It has to go everywhere. It's got to be everywhere with us. So Florrie's going to come now, and we're going to go through another section of the Bible, another story in the Bible of something that happens when some of Jesus' friends are gathered around him and he's chatting with them. And she's going to take us through that story, and we're going to learn something about God's love for his people. Yeah.
Nice. I'm not a very good storyteller. I'm the kind of person that says the punchline before the end of the joke, and everyone's like, oh no. So, all that to say, I feel like I'd like some help, if that's all right. Do you think I could use your help? Oh, front rowers. Is that all right? Could I grab 3 of you on this side, and 2 of you on this side? And could one from each of the sides, pick a side in the church that you would like to be on your side? I said side, but which one? All right. This side, you're with John's team. Probably shouldn't use the word team. John's friends. This side, you're with Jesus' friends, all right? And we are going to look at a story in the Bible around the person of Jesus. Because, as Josh said, if God is love, can I hear you say God is love? God is love. And Jesus is God. Then who do we need to look for an example of love? Jesus. Jesus. So, we are going to look at a story of Jesus with his cousin John. And this is quite a cool interaction. It really struck me this week. So, did I say you're John? John's friends. Cool. John's friends. Is there any chance I could get you walking around this side of the church and then coming down the aisle towards us? And you're going to be chatting amongst yourselves, and then you're going to come and you're going to ask Jesus and his friends a question. And while they walk around the church, this is the setting for the story. John is Jesus' cousin, and as we often hear in the Christmas story, John was born to tell the message of Jesus, tell the world, and prepare the world for the coming Messiah. So he spends his whole life in the desert giving of himself to prepare the people for the coming Messiah. And after all this time, he's been put in prison. He's gone against the law to tell the people of Jesus coming, and suddenly he's in trouble. He's in prison. And while he's in prison, what happens? He has a bit of a wobble. Having given his whole life to prepare the people of God for Jesus coming, he has this moment where he says, hang on, is this him? Is this really Jesus? Is this the one that I've given my whole life to, or is there another one coming? And so, while he's in prison, he sends his friends to Jesus. And I think this is our first lesson here. When we have problems, when we have wobbles, we bring them straight to Jesus. Can I hear you, the church, say, when we have a problem, we bring it to Jesus? It's good work, John's friends. You brought it straight to Jesus. Now, John's friends, I want you to ask Jesus, are you the one, or is there another to come? Is that all right?
Are you the one, or is there another one to come?
It's good. Jesus. You're here. You've been working signs and wonders. You've been seeing people raised, people healed, people set free. And your dear cousin, John, who's in prison for you, has sent his friends to say, are you the one? Are you the one that I've been thinking you are? Are you really Jesus? And Jesus, you look at John's friends, and in this moment, where you could be a bit offended, where your dearest friend has said, hang on a second, are you really Jesus? You don't have any offense in you. Can you tell me, I am not offended?
I am not offended.
I am not offended. Can I hear Jesus' friends over there say, I am not offended?
I am not offended.
And why are you not offended? It's because you know who you are. Can I hear you say, I know who I am?
I know who I am.
Nice. And then Jesus' friends, I need you to tell us why you know who you are. I think we need to hear, I am loved. I am seen. I am heard. I am known by the Father. So what we see here is Jesus' dearest friend comes to him and says, are you really the one that I think you've been? And then Jesus just says, yeah, I am.
Yeah, I am.
And what he actually says is, the blind are seeing, the lame are walking, the dead are being raised, the gospel is being preached. I am Jesus. Wow. Can I hear you say, wow, that's Jesus? Can I hear you say, wow, that's Jesus? Wow, that's Jesus. Well, and then John's friends, having received this message, go back to tell John. Can I see John's friends turning around to go back to tell John all the good news? You're going back this way. And this is what really struck me about this story this week. John's friends are walking away, and while they're still walking, let's just pause a second. While they're still walking, and they're within earshot of Jesus, Jesus says this. He says, who are you going to see in the desert?
Who are you going to see in the desert?
Was it a random man?
Was it a random man?
Was it a king?
Was it a king?
No, you don't go to the desert to see a king.
No, you don't go to the desert to see a king.
It was a prophet.
It was a prophet.
And of all the prophets, it was the greatest prophet.
And of all the prophets, it was the greatest prophet.
Wow. So what we see here is Jesus and his dearest friend having a bit of a wobble, saying, Jesus, are you really who you've said you are? Are you really, is this true? And having a little bit of doubt towards Jesus. And Jesus not only is not offended by this wobble, but he goes further and he sees past all of the wobble that John is having in this moment, all of the doubt, any skepticism, any cynicism that John has right here. He's brought it to Jesus, and Jesus sees straight past all of that stuff. And he right in the middle of that moment says, John, this is who you are. John, you are not just a prophet, but the greatest prophet around. And he pulls out the gold and he honors John for who he is. And I see this as such a powerful moment in Jesus' ministry, where he goes beyond just addressing an issue, where he goes beyond just answering John's question, but honoring John for who he is, right there in the middle of this crowd that's watching the interaction.
Wonderful. Thanks, guys. If you want to go and have a seat, that's great. To be honoured by Jesus when in prison and doubting. What a moment for John. And for us, there's so many moments we can probably relate to in the midst of that, where we find ourselves in a tough moment or wobbling a little. I like that phrase, having a wobble. Does anyone else have a wobble? Sometimes I have a wobble. Yeah, nice. And then Jesus takes the opportunity to pour out honour on John. And as we're looking at this kind of theme of love a little bit today, the thing we just want to capture from that story is that honour is powerful. Honouring our brothers and sisters breaks down barriers between us. It disempowers the enemy's lies that he just loves to whisper in our ears. He loves to sow little lies into our lives and whisper things in our ears that actually aren't true. We know it, don't we? There's the very first account of Adam and Eve in Genesis. And what does he do? He whispers lies to Eve. And we know he loves to whisper lies. And one of the great ways that we can combat that and come against it is to honour one another and to love well amongst our family, amongst our community. And then the other thing it does is it creates an opportunity for deeper relational connections, deeper relationships. And Family, this is really what we wanted to land this moment for you, is recognition that this is community, this is family. Florrie and I have the privilege of dropping in once a month to come and hang out with you on a Sunday, but the reality of the situation is that you are family, you are journeying together, you are working together to see his kingdom come and his will be done in this town, in this community. And so the enemy is desperate to get in your way, isn't he? He wants to stop you. He wants to create sort of divisions between you. He wants you to not be friends, because if you're not friends, you can't really serve Jesus very well. Is that right? Yeah. Great. So one thing we're going to do, what I want us to do off the back of that story is, it's brave, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of minutes, and I want to invite just maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 of you, something like that, to stand up where you are, to name someone in your church family, someone in your community, someone here that you know, that you've connected with, and I want you to honor them in front of this church family and before the Lord. I'll give you a demonstration. I'll show you what I want you to do. And then what I want us to do is we're just going to take a moment to, just a few of us, we don't have to name every single person, we haven't got to go for everyone. But what I want you to do is, if there's someone coming to your mind now, if you could stand up and then say, I want to honor whoever it is, and this is why, because this is what's coming before me. You know, there's a guy called Bill Johnson. He leads a church in America, and one of the things that they really go after in their church is building a culture of honor. And he says there's 3 things, there's 3 reasons why we honor the people in our family, in our community, in our church. They're made in the image of God. That's a good enough reason to honor anyone in our community. God gave them gifts. Maybe it's the gift of being able to play an instrument. Maybe it's the gift of being amazing at hospitality. Maybe it's a gift of dressing really well and being the fashionista of the family. We need those, don't we? You should have seen how I used to dress before I married Florrie. It's better now. Let me just put it that way. And the third reason, you know, they're made in the image of God, they're gifted by God, and his presence rests on them. That is 3 great reasons to honor people. Does this make sense? Yeah. Wonderful. So I'm going to give you a demo, and then I just want to invite a couple of you, if you're up for it, just to stand, share who do you want to honor today and why. And my example of this that I want to give you is, I want to honor Noel. Noel is often at the back facilitating what we're doing on a Sunday, making it happen. And Noel, I just want to honor you for the way that you serve. And there's something that I've seen a little bit of that maybe other folks don't get to see on a Sunday morning. But I know that Noel comes in Friday nights, Saturdays, and other days in the week to make sure that everything that happens here technically and everything that's going on in the church, it happens smoothly and it happens well. And when there's a problem, if I break something when I come on a Sunday, I say to Noel, "No, I broke this," and then it's in his hands to make it happen and sort it out. And with the team that he's got around him as well. So Noel, I just want to honor you and bless you for the way that you serve this community, for the role that you play in this family. And I thank you and I pray that God will bless you as you do that. Noel's awesome. Can I have a couple of other people just to do the same thing for people in the family? Is there someone you want to honor, Debbie? You want to honor someone?
3 people.
Yeah, go on then.
Richard for taking me to see Tony when he died.
Yep.
And Jenny for helping me with the house, get rid of about 5,000 records.
Yep.
And videos. And David for doing the funeral.
Yeah.
And for my house.
Yeah, wonderful. That's awesome. Thank you, Debbie. We honor these people. We honor, who is it? Richard and Jenny and Dave and the house group that are with Debbie. For the way that you love Debbie, she honors you today. You love her well. You stand with her. You support her. You saw her through a really tough patch when Tony died. And we thank you and honor you for that. Anyone else? Yeah, go.
Yeah, I want to just give some recognition to Anne and Margaret and now Sally, who's recently joined us, because when the church says we'd like a meal, I just say, oh yeah, okay, when do you want it? And
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, we bless you. We honor you, team, who come around Sally. That's so great. Let's have one more. Can one more person do this?
I might just like to repeat something that was said yesterday afternoon in this building here. I'd like to honour Penny for all that she does for the community.
Penny, you're awesome. You're awesome. Wonderful. That's so good, friends. And let this be a kind of a foundation of something that we want to be doing as community. You know, this, it doesn't have to be stand up in front of everyone like this, but just a recognition of thanks and honoring people for the way that they serve, what they bring to the table, because every single one of us does bring something to the table. This family wouldn't be this family without every single member of the family involved in, as part of the community here. And so we just kind of wanted to highlight that. What a beautiful thing that Jesus honors John in his wobble moment. And we as family can stand with one another, honor one another, build those relationships closer and deeper as we go on to serve the Lord. So that was part one. Love one another, honor one another, serve one another well as community. And the next thing that we just want to tap into just for a couple of minutes together is receive his love. John the Baptist in the story, he's in prison and he sent these guys to go and just double check with Jesus what's going on. And when they come back, what does John get to receive? He gets to receive affirmation and honor. Is John feeling pretty loved by Jesus when the guys report back as to what just happened? Absolutely, absolutely. And that is the same love that we have the opportunity to receive from Jesus. And just as we've honored one another in the room as family, it says in Matthew 7, how much more does the Father long to know us and love us? It talks about in there, you know, if you're a parent, how much do you want to feed your kids and give them good gifts and lavish upon them? And if you want to do that as a parent, how much more does your Heavenly Father want to do that? And so what we're going to do now is we're going to just take a few minutes and we're going to put a bit of music on in the background and we're going to use a couple of songs just to spend some time asking the Lord to show us his love for us. Maybe there's some people in the room that have felt the love by the honor that happened a few minutes ago. But we want everybody to catch a glimpse of God's love for us. So I'm going to ask Florrie and Megan to come back up. We're going to put some pads on, but let's just pray a prayer together that just invites the Lord to show us his love. And over these next couple of minutes, we're just going to do this for a couple of minutes. What I want you to do is posture yourself in a position where maybe it's something physical where you want to put your hands out. Maybe it's where you just want to bow your head. But we're going to ask the Lord who is here, present and alive in the room with us today, to meet with us and show us something of his love. Is that all right? Awesome. Let's invite him to do that. Lord, we thank you that you are one who loves to lavish love upon us. You love to meet with us. Is one of your greatest desires that we would catch a glimpse of you afresh, see your love for us, understand our identity in you, and live from that place. We pray really simply, Lord, show us your love today. Show us your love today.